Ever wondered how America's school buses, GPA races, and wild college dorms all connect into one massive system? From the first yellow ride to that final cap toss, this is the real American journey. Structured, loud, and unforgettable. Love uncovering how America really works? Hit like and subscribe to Uncharted America. New stories every week that show the truth behind the culture.
The American educational journey. Picture this: a sea of bright yellow buses winding through neighborhoods, carrying millions of students to school each day, only to transition years later to lively dorm parties that define college life. This isn't just a routine, it's a cultural tapestry that shapes how Americans learn, socialize, and grow. From the safety standards set decades ago to the vibrant social scenes on campus, the U.S. education system blends tradition with modern experiences. Today, we'll dive into this fascinating world, uncovering the facts that make it unique and relatable. Whether you're a student navigating these paths or an adult reflecting on your own journey, get ready to explore how these elements come together to create a dynamic learning environment that impacts generations. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Can you hear it? The distant rumble, growing steadily louder, punctuated by the rhythmic hiss of air brakes. It's a sound that millions of Americans associate with crisp autumn mornings, the scent of crisp dew-covered grass, and the faint anxiety of a pop quiz. It's the sound of the yellow school bus, a rolling institution, and the true start of the American educational journey. For many, the memories are etched in the texture of the cracked, dark green vinyl seats and the specific way sunlight streamed through the large rattling windows. The unmistakable symbol on wheels. That specific, almost luminous shade of yellow isn't an accident of design or a matter of taste. It is a calculated, life-saving piece of engineering. The color is officially known as National School Bus Glossy Yellow, a standard adopted back in 1939. The effort was spearheaded by Dr. Frank W. Sire, a professor at Teachers College, Columbia University, who organized a conference to establish national standards for school transportation. After studying the science of visibility, attendees determined that this particular shade of yellow, tinged with orange, is the most visible color to the human eye in the peripheral field, especially during the low-light conditions of dawn and dusk. It's a color that screams, "Pay attention," without making a sound. This rolling fleet is staggering in its scale. Every school day, more than 25 million students, nearly half of the nation's student population, board these buses. This makes the American school bus system the largest form of mass transit in the country, dwarfing all public city bus systems combined. It's a logistical operation of immense proportions, a silent giant that moves a population equivalent to the entire continent of Australia every single morning and afternoon. A journey in 3 acts, the K-12 structure. Once the bus delivers its passengers, they step into a world that is just as structured, a 13-year path known as the K-12 system. This framework, covering kindergarten through 12th grade, is the backbone of primary and secondary education in the United States. It's a journey meticulously divided into 3 distinct acts, each with its own culture, challenges, and purpose. The first act is elementary school, typically running from kindergarten to 5th grade. This is the world of a single classroom, one primary teacher who acts as a guide through the foundational skills of reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's a sensory-rich environment. The smell of chalk dust and disinfectant, the sight of colorful posters displaying the alphabet and multiplication tables, the feel of chunky crayons. Here, the social world is small and manageable, centered around the classroom, the playground, and the lunch line. It's designed to be a nurturing space where the core building blocks of learning are laid. Then comes the jarring transition to Act 2, middle school or junior high, covering grades 6 through 8.
Suddenly, the single classroom explodes into a labyrinth of hallways. Students no longer have one teacher, but 6 or 7, each a specialist in their own subject. The day is dictated by the ringing of a bell, a frantic 7-minute shuffle between classes, and the complex social ritual of the locker bay. This phase is intentionally designed to manage the turbulent shift from childhood to adolescence. It introduces a higher level of personal responsibility, managing schedules, navigating a larger, more complex social ecosystem, while still providing a structured, supervised environment. It's an academic and social boot camp for the years ahead. The final act is high school, grades 9 through 12. Here, the stakes are raised. The curriculum becomes more specialized, the social hierarchies more defined. The future, once a distant concept, now has a name: college applications, job prospects, the SAT. While the state-mandated compulsory attendance laws, which generally require schooling until age 16 or 18, ensure students reach this stage, the focus shifts from mere attendance to performance. High school is designed to be a launch pad, a place where students consolidate their learning and make the first concrete decisions about their adult lives. So, the familiar image of a yellow bus delivering children to a brick schoolhouse is more than just a nostalgic snapshot. It represents the start of a highly organized 13-year-long developmental process. What begins as a simple ride down the street is in reality the first step into a massive, intricate system designed not just to teach, but to methodically build a person from the ground up. Inside the system, a student's entire academic life is distilled into a single powerful number, the grade point average, or GPA. This metric, calculated on a 4-point scale where an A is a 4.0, a B a 3.0, and so on, becomes the primary currency of achievement. It is a constant, looming presence, updated with every report card, discussed at every parent-teacher conference. It dictates eligibility for sports teams, entry into honor societies, and most critically, a student's standing in the fiercely competitive college admissions race. This simple number becomes a shorthand for a student's work ethic, intelligence, and potential. But the standard 4.0 scale was not enough. As competition intensified over the decades, a new academic arms race began. Schools introduced advanced placement courses, a curriculum created by the College Board that offers college-level studies to high school students. Excelling in an AP class and passing the corresponding national exam in May can earn a student actual college credit before they even set foot on a university campus. To incentivize taking these harder classes, most high schools weight the grades. An A in an AP course is no longer a 4.0, it becomes a 5.0. Suddenly, the ceiling was broken. Students could now graduate with GPAs of 4.5 or higher, creating a new echelon of academic achievement. Today, over 2 million students take nearly 5 million AP exams each year, turning high school hallways into proving grounds for collegiate readiness.
Alongside the GPA is the second great gatekeeper of American higher education, the standardized test. The SAT and the ACT are 4-hour marathons of multiple-choice questions and a timed essay designed to measure a student's aptitude in math and evidence-based reading and writing. The SAT, first administered in 1926, has its roots in an Army IQ test and was later adapted by Harvard University as a way to identify promising students from outside the traditional New England preparatory school pipeline. The goal was to create a universal yardstick to compare a student from a small rural school in Wyoming with one from a prestigious private academy in New York City. Whether it achieved this is a matter of fierce debate, but its influence is undeniable. An entire multi-billion-dollar industry of test preparation has sprung up around these exams, with students spending months, even years, drilling vocabulary, practicing math problems, and learning strategies to outsmart the test designers. For a 16-year-old, their score, a number out of 1,600 on the SAT or 36 on the ACT, can feel like a final judgment on their intellectual worth.
But this paper trail of numbers, the GPA, the test scores, is only one half of the story an American student is expected to tell. The other half is written on the football field, the theater stage, and in the debate hall. Extracurricular activities are not merely a way to pass the time, they are a fundamental component of the educational philosophy. The ideal is the well-rounded student, someone who demonstrates not just academic prowess, but also leadership, passion, and the ability to work in a team. Nowhere is this more visible than in the culture of high school sports. In many communities, particularly in the Midwest and the South, the entire town's social calendar revolves around the high school football team. Friday nights in the fall are sacred. The stadium lights cut through the darkness, the marching band plays the school's fight song, and the roar of the crowd creates an atmosphere of electric anticipation. This isn't just a game, it's a communal ritual. It's a phenomenon that pulls in nearly 8 million student athletes annually, according to the National Federation of State High School Associations. Participating in sports is seen as a way to build character, discipline, and resilience, qualities that are just as valued as a perfect score on a calculus exam. Beyond the athletic fields, a rich tapestry of other activities thrives. There's the marching band, a subculture with its own language, grueling summer band camps, and intricate field-sized choreographies. There's the debate team, where students learn the arts of rhetoric and public speaking, traveling to tournaments on weekends to argue about public policy. There's the drama club, which transforms teenagers into Shakespearean characters and Broadway singers for a few nights each year. Each of these activities is an ecosystem unto itself, demanding immense dedication and time. They're also crucial resume builders for the final, all-consuming project of high school, the college application. This process is a rite of passage in itself, a crucible of stress and self-reflection. Most students will use the Common Application, a single online portal that allows them to apply to hundreds of different universities at once. They fill up pages of information about their grades, their test scores, and their extracurriculars. But the heart of the application, and its most dreaded component, is the personal essay. In 650 words or less, a student must answer a profound question about their identity, a challenge they have overcome, or a time their beliefs were questioned. They must craft a narrative that is authentic, compelling, and memorable. They must, in essence, package their entire 17 years of existence into a compelling story for a complete stranger in an admissions office.
After the applications are submitted in the dead of winter, an agonizing waiting period begins. Then, in the spring, the decisions arrive. What used to be a thick or thin envelope in the mail has now largely been replaced by a digital portal. Students log in, their hearts pounding to click a link that says, "View your decision." The screen that follows can bring either pure elation or crushing disappointment. It's a deeply personal moment that is, paradoxically, often shared publicly on social media, a final dramatic climax to the 4-year high school narrative. For those who are accepted, the next transition is as monumental as the one from elementary to middle school. It begins with move-in day. Families arrive on college campuses in cars packed to the brim with many fridges, bedding, and a lifetime of belongings. There are tearful goodbyes with parents and the first awkward handshake with a roommate, a stranger with whom they will now share a space no larger than a walk-in closet. The dorm room itself is a blank canvas of cinder block walls and institutional furniture. It is here that the student's independence truly begins. The first line of defense in this new world is the resident advisor, or RA. Typically an older student, the RA is part peer, part mentor, and part rule enforcer. They organize icebreaker events, mediate roommate conflicts, and are trained to handle everything from a noise complaint to a genuine crisis. They are the human face of the university's structure, the bridge between total freedom and institutional oversight. The academic world also undergoes a seismic shift. The intimate classroom of 30 students is replaced by a cavernous lecture hall that can hold 500. The professor is a distant figure on a stage, often speaking into a microphone. The responsibility for learning shifts entirely to the student. There is no one to check if you've done the reading or to remind you of an upcoming deadline. The entire semester is laid out on the first day in a document called the syllabus. This is the contract for the course. It lists every reading, every assignment, every exam date. It is a roadmap for the next 4 months, and it is up to the student alone to navigate it. Yet, for all the focus on academics, it is the unofficial curriculum of social life that often defines the American college experience. And this brings us to the dorm party. It is an institution built on ingenuity and a slight disregard for the rules. It happens in those small, cinder block rooms now transformed with string lights and posters. The music is played from a laptop, the snacks are a bag of chips, and the drinks are often served in a vessel that has become an icon of American student life, the red Solo cup. Its cheapness, durability, and opacity make it the perfect container for campus socializing, a symbol of casual communal gathering. For a more structured social experience, there is Greek life. Fraternities for men and sororities for women are social organizations with roots stretching back to the late 18th century. The first Greek letter society, Phi Beta Kappa, was founded in 1776 as a secret literary and philosophical group. Today, these organizations are a major force on many campuses, with their own houses, rituals, and powerful alumni networks. The process of joining, known as rushing, involves a series of highly structured social events where potential new members meet current ones. An invitation to join, or a bid, is followed by a period of pledgeship, an intensive orientation to the organization's history and values. For millions of students, Greek life provides a ready-made community, a home away from home that shapes their entire college career and beyond.
And just as in high school, the entire campus community often unites around sports. But college sports are on a completely different scale. The National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA, governs athletics at over 1,200 institutions. On a Saturday in the fall, a university's football stadium can become the third largest city in the state, a sea of 100,000 people dressed in school colors. The day begins hours before kickoff with tailgating, a massive pre-game party in the parking lots with grills, music, and elaborate setups. The game itself is a spectacle of marching bands, cheerleaders, and deeply ingrained traditions. This isn't just an extracurricular activity, it's a multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry and the primary driver of school spirit and alumni donations. Finally, after 4 years of navigating this complex world of lectures, exams, parties, and games, the journey reaches its conclusion. The final ceremony is graduation, or commencement. Students don a cap and gown, a tradition that dates back to medieval European universities. They march in the solemn procession to the sounds of pomp and circumstance. They listen to a commencement speech delivered by a notable figure. And then comes the culminating moment, the turning of the tassel on their cap from right to left, a simple gesture symbolizing their transition from student to graduate. It is the formal end of a long, structured, and uniquely American path, a path that began, for so many, with a short ride on a bright yellow bus. Inside the classroom, before the first lesson even begins, a daily ritual unfolds that is as ingrained as the yellow bus itself. A voice crackles over the school's intercom system. "Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance." In a synchronized motion, students stand, turn to face the American flag hanging in the corner of the room, and place their right hands over their hearts. They recite the 31 words in a familiar, often monotone chorus, a practice that has been a fixture of the American school day for generations. In these early years, the classroom is also a stage for a child's first foray into public speaking, show and tell. Here, a student brings an object from home, a favorite toy, a seashell from a family vacation, a new puppy's collar, and explains its significance to the class. It's a simple exercise, but it's a foundational lesson in communication, confidence, and the art of sharing a personal story with an audience. As students age, the freedom of the hallways is still carefully metered out.
A trip to the restroom or the library during class time requires a physical token of permission, the hall pass. This is rarely just a slip of paper. To prevent loss or misuse, it is often a large, unwieldy object, a brightly painted block of wood or a plastic traffic cone or some other comically oversized item that makes its carrier conspicuous. It is a tangible symbol of the institution's control over a student's movement. Another annual rite is School Picture Day, a day of heightened social anxiety and parental hope. Students are called out of class one by one to sit in front of a mottled blue or gray backdrop where a photographer instructs them to tilt your head and give me a big smile. The resulting photographs with their forced grins and awkward poses become a permanent, often cringeworthy record of one's adolescent evolution, tucked away in yearbooks and family albums for decades.
The social calendar of high school is anchored by two monumental events, homecoming and prom. Homecoming, held in the fall, is a week-long celebration of school spirit, culminating in a football game against a rival. The week is filled with themed spirit days, pajama day, crazy hair day, and culminates in a parade through the town featuring student-made floats and the school's marching band. A homecoming king and queen are elected from the senior class, their coronation often taking place during the halftime show of the big game. Prom, on the other hand, is the formal, almost mythical climax of the high school social experience held in the spring. The weeks leading up to it are dominated by the phenomenon of the promposal, elaborate and public invitations to the dance. Boys, and increasingly girls, devise creative ways to ask their dates, involving clever signs, scavenger hunts, or even flash mobs. The night itself is a flurry of corsages, rented tuxedos, and shimmering gowns, a formal dinner followed by a dance in a rented ballroom or the cavernous, decorated gymnasium, a final, glittering night of collective youth before the class scatters. This entire journey, however, runs on a parallel track of financial calculation that comes to a head in the student's senior year. The gateway to affording higher education is a daunting digital document known as the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Filling it out is a rite of passage for nearly every college-bound family. It requires a deep dive into a family's financial life, tax returns, bank statements, assets, to calculate an expected family contribution. This number determines a student's eligibility for federal grants, work-study programs, and most significantly, student loans. The concept of graduating with debt is not an unfortunate outcome for a few. It is a built-in, widely accepted feature of the American system. Millions of students willingly sign promissory notes for tens of thousands of dollars, accepting a mortgage on their future before they have even earned their first professional paycheck. For many, this financial burden is partially offset by a work-study award, which allows them to work a part-time job on campus, in the library, the dining hall, or an administrative office to earn money for their expenses. Once on campus, the academic support structure extends beyond the professor. In those large lecture courses, the primary point of contact for a student is often not the professor, but the teaching assistant, or TA. Typically a graduate student in the same field, the TA leads smaller mandatory discussion sections or labs where the lecture material is reviewed, questions are answered, and assignments are graded. They are the essential intermediaries who make the mass-produced education of a large university feel more personal. Students are also encouraged to attend office hours, a few hours each week when both professors and TAs are available in their offices for one-on-one help. Yet it is a resource that a surprising number of struggling students never use, intimidated by the idea of approaching their instructor directly. The academic rhythm of the semester is punctuated by the intense periods of midterms and finals. Finals week in particular transforms the campus. The university library, normally a quiet place for study, becomes a 24/7 hive of frantic, caffeine-fueled activity. Students claim tables with their books and laptops, sometimes not leaving for days, subsisting on energy drinks and vending machine snacks. It is a shared, collective ordeal, a final, grueling intellectual marathon before the release of a semester break. The social geography of a campus is defined by more than just dorm rooms. The central artery of student life is often the quad,
a large open grassy area usually in the heart of the campus where students study, socialize, and relax between classes. It's the university's public square. Inside, the Student Union building serves as a community center, housing everything from food courts and coffee shops to the campus bookstore and meeting rooms for student clubs. It's a neutral ground where all the different subcultures of the university intersect. But as students progress, their focus shifts outward. The new final exam for the modern American college student is the internship. The pressure to secure a summer internship, often unpaid, in one's chosen field has become immense. The university's Career Services Office becomes a critical resource, offering resume workshops, mock interviews, and job fairs. An internship is no longer a bonus. It is seen as a prerequisite for a post-graduation job offer, a critical line on a resume that proves a student has moved beyond the theoretical world of the classroom and is ready for the professional world that awaits just beyond the graduation stage. Reflecting on the American study experience, from the reliable yellow buses that kickstart each school day to the energetic dorm parties that cap off college years, the American educational journey is a blend of structure and spontaneity. These verified facts highlight how safety, academic rigor, and social dynamics intertwine to shape millions of lives. Whether you're reminiscing about your homeschool days or guiding the next generation, the system's unique elements continue to inspire growth and connection. Thanks for exploring these insights with us. May they offer a clearer picture of what makes studying in the U.S. so distinctive and enduring.